Okay, just a bit of warning. There will be mild spoilers, but I'm gonna do my best not to reveal way too much. So, I watched the first season of My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom, and I gotta say I enjoyed it quite a lot, but not for the reasons I expected it. Going into it, I didn't really know much about it. I knew it was an isekai about the protagonist being a villainess and that she was destined to meet her end at the hands of the hero, or heroine in this case, and she wanted to prevent her demise. What I didn't know was that it would take place in an otome game, or maiden game, which is like a romantic visual novel type game. I thought that the protagonist in the series was like the last boss of an RPG and she was gonna die at the hands of an adventurer, but after watching the first episode, I realized now that this was a completely different type of isekai than what I was expecting. Despite that, I still loved it. It ended up being a cute, lighthearted anime that features kindness and humility as themes, as well as bullying. It felt more like a slice of life than a reverse harem. And this was kind of important because I stopped watching harems a long time ago because they always felt empty to me and was only full of fan service. Granted, I haven't seen too many of them, but Hamefura was a reverse harem that I enjoyed. And it mostly came down to the protagonist being such an interesting character with a very active role and many layers to her. Katarina Clays is not just a bland, self-insert protagonist with a reverse harem. She legitimately has goals that she actively pursues from the beginning of the series, and she actively works towards them. That alone makes her a great protagonist. I can go on and on about Katarina because I absolutely love her as a character and she's a big part of what makes this anime great, but maybe I'll save that for another video. The other characters are all equally lovable, as they have their own charm to them and are distinct enough to make each of them stand out. I absolutely adore the entire cast. They play so well off each other thanks to their connection to Katarina, and the rivalries between them despite being friends make for very interesting situations. The story is pretty simple. Katarina doesn't want to end up in her doom scenario, and in preventing it, she ends up improving the lives of all her friends. It doesn't feel like a reverse harem, as it doesn't feel too fan-servicey. It honestly feels more of a slice of life, as I've mentioned, though it does have plot development and conflicts, even if they are very minor. If you don't expect a lot of tension and high stakes, and just want to enjoy adorable characters interacting with each other, then this is a great anime for you. Although there is this one point of the story where it feels like there are high tensions, but it felt a bit out of place, but overall I still enjoyed it. But besides that, throughout the entire series, I actually found myself laughing out loud in many scenes, largely because of how endearing these characters are and all of the dramatic irony. I think my favorite episode is episode 8, Became Engulfed by Desire, where most of the characters are sucked into a book and Mary and Maria are forced to watch the characters experience their desires. Mary's reaction to all of the characters expressing their desires by hitting on Katarina had me entertained throughout the whole episode. I think I laughed the hardest when Mary just straight up wanted to burn the book. So yeah, it was a fun watch and an anime I definitely rewatch if I wanted to kick back and relax. It was quite easy to become invested in these characters because they each have a sad side to them, which makes you want to cheer them on, and it's just really satisfying to watch how Katarina's positive influences change them for the better. There's a part of the story, like I mentioned before, that feels a bit inconsistent, where it feels like there are high stakes, which is probably my only complaint in this anime. Even though the protagonist has a lot at stake that's established early on, it was more comical than serious. But towards the end of the season, it suddenly takes a darker turn and it feels like some of the characters' lives are at stake, and I didn't really like that. I mean, it did make me feel tension, but it was only that one part of the story that had that effect, and it didn't really fit in with the tone of the rest of the series. But the good part about it was that it really showed me how much I cared for these characters when I realized that there was much more at stake than just Katarina's doom endings. And I can look past this because I assume there will be more plot developments like this in the second season. So yeah, I'm taking that into account. I do fully intend on reading the manga because I'm already emotionally invested in these characters and I really want to know what happens next. And with that, I will be ending this video. I do want to talk more about Katarina as a character, but that will come in another video. Maybe.